You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. At Fidelity, you'll always get a great value for your options trades. And with powerful investing tools that provide clear next steps, plus independent research and a wide range of investment types, we can help you make better trading decisions. Learn more about options trading with Fidelity at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
All right, everybody. That music means we're back once again with Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. My name is Mark Longo, and of course, hopefully you're not tired of our interviews. We put a bunch of them out to you, and more coming, of course, from the Options Industry Conference 2019. A slew of content, a series of great guests we caught up with down in Miami. That's all hitting the network as we speak. So I hope you're enjoying that. Hope you got a few more in you, because we got more coming at you today and indeed tomorrow and the rest of the week, including our next guest, an old friend of the program. Happy to have him back here in the studio. He is Tony Saliba, the CEO of Matrix Holdings and also the CEO over there at Mercury Digital Assets. Tony, welcome back to the Options Insider Radio program, sir. It has been too long.
Good afternoon, Mark.
How are things here? Let's start. I just came back from Miami, like I mentioned. And you were conspicuously absent, sir. I don't know if you know this, but I got roped into giving away a few awards there. They changed. They used to give away one award, listeners, kind of a lifetime achievement award. It was mostly focused on the exchange personnel. They'd give it to the CEOs and others of the various exchanges. They decided this year to broaden it. I thought it was a great choice. When the MIAX guys called me up and said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this," I said, "This is great," because the option space is more than just exchanges. There's brokers, there's traders, there's entrepreneurs, there's you name it, crazy media people, all sorts of stuff running around here in this space these days, Tony. And I like to see that they're broadening the scope of their awards. So we gave away 10 what they call Crowd of Fame awards, effectively the version of a Lifetime Achievement Award to a variety of different people, including to you, Tony, but to not you, I had to give it to someone else. So you kind of missed your opportunity. First off, let me say congratulations.
Thank you.
And then secondly, you missed your opportunity to kind of give a little bit of an acceptance speech. So if you want to do that now, sir, have at it. The floor is yours.
Mark, that's awfully nice of you. Yeah, unfortunately, I had a series of dental emergencies that I had to take care of, and I missed it.
The words dental and emergency together are never nothing.
No. Too much. My dentist recommended meditation. Too much stress, cracking my teeth. But my team was down there. We had 6 from Matrix, and Brian Radigan was nice enough to go up and say hi to you and collect my booty. But it was really nice of the OIC and OCC to create this Lifetime Achievement Award, and I'm humbled to be in the inaugural class, so to speak, with a really good, interesting group of men and women. I think options are the coolest things ever. I've devoted, over 4 decades to them, and I still think there's a lot of growth available. So really psyched to be in that class of crowd of fame, if you will. So thank you.
We had a joke at the event. Maybe next time they should give out jackets, like the Masters. Everyone instead of a green jacket, someone joked a gold one. I don't know, something ostentatious, maybe a diamond, lame, something like that, something cool to stand out. So maybe look for your jacket coming in the mail. But it was certainly well deserved. You certainly have operated in a lot of different spaces in the options world over the years with a lot of success. So I was glad to see that they were broadening. I like to see exchange guys get their awards too, of course. But let's broaden it out a little bit. A lot of cool
from
things.
A fellow market maker.
Yeah, like I said, some traders and market makers get those too. God forbid, one of those get an award too. So congratulations on that, sir. I'm trying to think. You and I have been on stage a lot lately over the past year, but it's been about a year since you were maybe a little more than that, since you were in the studio here, kind of catching us. At the time, it was right about at the time you were just launching Matrix. You were kind of just going through, it was Q1 of last year. You were kind of just going through the early ramp up there. So obviously it's been a little more, a year and change under your belt now. So catch us up. How are things going in the land of Matrix, sir, since the last time we chatted?
Well, it is about a year, 14 months, and we're almost 40 heads strong to date. We have, we acquired a legacy business from ITG with about 20 firms as clients. We've more than quadrupled that number in the first year. Some tremendously large clients that we've been able to capture part of the wallet, so to speak. I think what makes us different than some of our competition is that we're multi-assets. So Matrix handles not only options very well, but equities and futures. And with our affiliate company, Mercury Digital Assets, you can plug a crypto digital spot right into that. So with Mercury's Beacon, some of the similar technology, you can trade the futures currently or spot. And I believe by the end of the year there'll be options. I think the CME will probably list options on their future, my guess. And I know no inside information, but I just think it would be a natural.
I was going to say, are you in on some skill nuggery that I'm unaware of?
No.
That would be nice. From your lips to God's ears, sir. I've been certainly saying that for some time.
I think it's, it's coming. So we're ready, and our client base spans your typical or traditional listed traders all the way to hodlers that started out as punters and speculators that are curious about options. So I think it's a real nice mix and match.
And so in the Matrix, and I know you have the Mercury, that's obviously very very crypto focused, but sounds like you're enmeshing the two. You're bringing the crypto over there into the Matrix side as well. And I know with Matrix you have kind of a dual offering. You have a kind of a pro and a retail. You have the Matrix Elite, I believe, for the pro, and then you have a different retail offering. So walk us through kind of those offerings again and how those are maybe taking root in the market.
Right. Well, so pro is our legacy system that is mostly for the buy side and is a desktop application. It's very robust, does all the typical order management and trade management, risk, position management and such. It's also got a ladder for trading futures. Our algo rack is very robust. We have some of the lowest latency algo systems available today. So that's for buy side. The Elite, which is the new fourth generation architecture of ours from our Liquid Point days, this being a HTML5, very lightweight, super flexible platform that the crypto is also built into. So we've built out a dark pool. We've got complete RFQ, IOI capabilities in both digital assets and listed options. And that is the options package is QRN, Quote Request Network. So that is our newest offering, and we're rolling it out this quarter. So the crypto rolled out last quarter, and the options package with being able to ping liquidity providers and slice and dice, just like Broker Point did, is rolling out by the end of Q2.
So a lot of things in the hopper there. You mentioned the dreaded D word, the dreaded dark pool there for options. But I know that's kind of an area.
No, it's for crypto.
For crypto,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sorry, yes. But it is a dreaded D word.
Yes.
It's the other dreaded D word in the options world. The derivatives is probably the first one. You can't say that. And then the second one is, of course, dark pool. You say that, and you run any options people, they run scared for the exits there. But you kind of mentioned Mercury and the crypto. I was down at the FIA Boca conference about a month ago or so, Tony. Mm-hmm. And I had heard, of course, tangentially about the San Juan Mercantile Exchange, but I hadn't really encountered much of their offerings in the past, and it was omnipresent. It was inescapable at FIA this year. Everywhere you looked, it was San Juan, Mercury. It was, you guys were all over the place. So first off, well done. You got my attention at the very least. I said, it looks like Tony and San Juan are up to something over there. So catch us up. What is your partnership with the San Juan Mercantile Exchange, and what are you guys doing over there? Well,
so the San Juan Mercantile Exchange started off as an investment for me. And through getting to know the principals there, one of the chief lead investors is Mike Novogratz from Galaxy. And we realized, so their backbone for the retail lit market is CQG. And so they have a mass distribution capabilities, but that doesn't roll out till September. We realized that they could do well with one of our own matrix-built dark pools. And we launched on April 2nd. So we're the technology that's driving the exchange today. From a matching engine, it's a dark pool that we built. And from a order routing and delivery mechanism, that's our Beacon platform, Mercury's Beacon platform. They have onboarded probably about 50 firms. There's over 300 at the queue. They're up to close to 10 a day. So what's unique about San Juan, Mark, is that they have it's a bank also, and they have a fully integrated custody solution of multiple custody providers. There's Kingdom Trust, there's Zappo, Fidelity's coming online. There's five, I think, Itana, and there's a couple others. I apologize for the other. I think Signature Bank, I think, is the other one. And it's an omnibus situation, so you don't have to custody at any given one. You can choose. And they're adding more. So you have a straight-through execution with pure banking privileges and custody all in one-stop shop. They're regulated. It's a regulated exchange. And it's a U.S. bank, so it's first. Kind of hit all the big hot buttons right there, of course, with crypto as regulation. Obviously, some people have come through here. They've sat exactly where you were, Tony, and I say to them, what do you have to offer for the U.S. regulated market? And that's when things kind of usually drop quite a bit. Well, we have warrants, but they're only for Europe or Latin America or whatever the case, or some other domain, Australia, a big mecca, seems like, for crypto these days. It's like anywhere but the U.S., which it's hard to blame them. Our regulatory situation is, I think, to call it fluid is to be charitable. No one really knows what the hell's going on that front. So, yeah, you have a regulated partner, and you have, is it mostly spot Bitcoin right now? Starting with spot Bitcoin, they will list the top 4 most active with Ether and I think Bitcoin Cash. Not sure, but they will not touch any of the securitized tokens. They want to stay in the clear with the SEC, but they will list utility tokens. Now, lots obviously happened in the crypto world in the last year or so since you and I had a chance to chat officially on the network here, Tony. So I'm curious. I want to get your thoughts on some of this stuff because obviously it's top of mind for us. We do the Crypto Rundown show every week, and it's been fun to watch
just a new audience coming in for that program too. Like our network, as an aside, our network has always done well, in the big major market centers, the Chicago's, the New York's, the London's, what have you. But all of a sudden with that show in particular, we're starting to see little flare-ups here and there in these crazy rural areas. And I'll go look on the map, like, where is this weird, crazy, far eastern Washington state? Sure enough, it's a huge crypto mining hotbed. So to see these little areas flaring up on our radar that never popped up before has been kind of fun for me, just to see the broadening of the audience in that sense. But yeah, a lot has happened. Obviously, you're very focused on the institutional side of crypto. We've seen differing opinions on that. I think you kind of gave an interesting one last year. I think you said that the firms were kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're saying one thing, saying, oh no, crypto is not ready for prime time in public. And then behind the scenes, they're staffing up and manning up and getting ready. A, is that still the case? Are you seeing institutions still on board? And then B, we've seen a bit of the worm turning over the last month. Maybe coincidentally around the time of your announcement with San Juan. Who knows? So do you think that worm turning over the last month, has that impacted things?
In terms of the pricing of... Yes. Well, so a year ago or so when I was with you, what did I say? And I was thinking in terms of some firms specifically. And one of them is J.P. Morgan. And sure enough, a year ago, the CEO was publicly bashing.
Fraud, right? He said it was fraud.
Yeah, exactly. He went so far to publicly bash it. Well, why not? He was potentially going to lose a lot of his core business. And then what happens last month or in March? Comes out with his own token, his own dollar-backed Chase cryptocurrency. So this is just proof, right, that this is going on. And I can't blame them. They have a big franchise at risk. But yes, we're still seeing, it's not so hidden either. E-Trade announced last week or the week before they're probably going to beat TD and Fidelity to the punch. Fidelity is very close.
Yeah, Fidelity's been talking about it for a while, so to beat them, that's stealing a march on them. Yeah.
Well, so what Fidelity is doing is really solid. I mean, they spent a lot of time building out a proper custody solution and then put the trappings on top of it. I think E-Trade is agnostic to where you custody at this point, but very soon your prime broker will be able to do this. I know EDF Man has active futures traders, and they've said to me that as soon as things are regulatorily clear, they would probably get in, let their customers trade spot. So everybody's waiting for regulations to make it easier for them, because this back and forth that the regulators have cost the industry, it just doesn't make any sense for these big companies to do that. So.
Yeah, you're right. It has been a challenge. We are seeing some cracks maybe in that dam. Just yesterday, we were talking on the show actually that CFTC may be giving some indication they're maybe leaning towards approving an ETH future, so expanding that offering of products. So if that's the case, that would be nice to see. It's been a year and a half now, and we haven't seen options. I've kind of given up on that for the time being. I've been banging my head against that door for a while, and it's not going to open anytime soon. We saw SIBO getting out of the space now with the Bitcoin futures. What are your thoughts on that as well? I'm curious. For a lot of people, you're in the institutional space. A lot of people were coming to me. That was like a Chicken Little moment. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Institutions, there's clearly no money for institutions. Look, the SIBO's getting out of it. Obviously, you know crypto. You obviously know the SIBO pretty well as well. What are your thoughts on that whole development?
Well, the beautiful thing about the CBOE is that they keep going at things until they get it right. So if they weren't happy with that contract, just because they exited it doesn't mean that they can't find another contract to come in with. I believe, first of all, they're extremely innovative, and I believe that the contract had a few flaws that were pretty difficult to foresee in early 2017. Part of it was the settlement. Part of it was the marketplace really kind of would like a future that settled in the spot. But if you get the settlement right and it's solid, that latter point may not be such an issue. So having said that, it's my opinion that the CBOE will search to find the right underlying, because then it's all about the options on it. And I think that they'll get it right.
There were a lot of questions, you're right, about the whole Gemini and just settling it to one auction on one venue. That's always been notoriously dubious in the crypto space anyway. The CME one had kind of a more, I think it was 5 or 6 venues. They were calculating that reference rate off as people maybe a little bit more comfortable. But people forget, too, everyone says, oh, Cboe's out of the space. No, they're still an investor in RSX, so they're still very much in it, just maybe not as publicly facing for the moment. So everyone who's running around, oh, the sky is falling for institutional crypto, maybe not so much. Speaking of other things people have been freaking out about, Tony, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this as well. We saw, I think about a month or so ago, a big report coming out of, I think it was Bitwise, very controversial in the crypto space. They're obviously trying to launch an ETF, so they have a dog in this fight as well to try to show the volume is a little bit maybe nuanced, let's say. But their data, according to them, was at about, I think it was around 95% of all crypto volume is effectively, as they termed it, fake or fraudulent or not real. It's a very controversial statement. Obviously, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so all crypto volume, I'm using air quotes, they were looking, globally, and quite a few of the Asian markets have been caught what we would call chumming. They were literally paying firms to trade with themselves. Okay, so when you look at 95% of the total volume, the vast majority of that was coming from overseas markets, not necessarily the U.S. market. And I would say in our dealings with the top 3 or 4, exchanges, that's probably not the case. But the markets are thin, and the OTC market is significantly larger. And that market, which is what we're focusing on, is active. People are onboarding to get an easier relationship with the banking and the custody so that they can trade more frequently. So there's a lot of activity that isn't on the screen, so to speak.
So just to summarize here then, so you have the San Juan partnership with San Juan Mercantile Exchange. That's live now, went live April 2nd, and you're going to be planning to scale that up in the coming months with new products and things like that. And then on top of that, you have, of course, the offerings from Matrix, and some of those kind of dovetailing with the offerings with Mercury, and that's coming out. The primary, you said, was a Q3?
Well, for our today, the crypto plug is available for a Matrix Elite, but the QRN, which is our RFQ IOI platform, by the end of Q2.
End of Q2, even faster. Well, there you go. So a lot going on in the world of crypto for you, Tony. But I know you're active in a bunch of other things. China for you has been a big focus in recent years. I know you've made a lot of trips over there and doing a lot of interesting endeavors. A lot of people I talk to in the space, they see China as the great untapped potential, right? The untapped frontier. And you hear mixed things about firms that go over there. They say, oh, the Chinese firms are very welcoming. And then they say, okay, just give us all your technique and all your technology and expertise, and then we'll get back to you at some indeterminate future date for when we want to do business. And then you see, of course, the government kind of being for and then against, and kind of wishy-washy on the whole derivatives thing. I'm curious, you've been active and watching this space for a while. How do you think we stand here, 2019, roughly close to halfway through the year? You think China is going as you thought? Is it opening the floodgates as you thought, or is it maybe taking a little bit longer to kind of crack that wall?
Well, so it's been about 6 years that I've been going back and forth and doing some business in China. And when we did speak here in the studio last was in late January or early February of 2018. And subsequently, just after that, my major thrust, which was to acquire the Chicago Stock Exchange with the Cason Group out of Chongqing, Southwest China, was...
Became unexpectedly contentious, didn't it?
It did. Well, we got caught in the crosshairs of a political campaign. And in retrospect, I mean, first of all, the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois did not help politically whatsoever. Okay, so I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You live here. We live here. And millions of dollars of tax revenue left the city because we were outbid by ICE, New York Stock Exchange. And they closed it down, moved. They left a skeleton. Literally 80-some people were let go, left 3 or 4 attorneys and an assistant here, and they moved everything to New York State. All right, so that was sad for that reason, but also the group, the company, which was a private company, and spending a lot of time in China with regulators, with exchange officials, with leaders of their FCMs and their securities companies, I saw a little bit of everything you said, Mark, in terms of oh, just open your account here with us, and we let you trade for free. They wanted to learn from you. To the regulators who put the strong arm on you to some degree. But then companies like the Cason Group, which was not in securities previously, they were in real estate, wanted to expatriate some of their RMB. And the way the laws are in China, you cannot buy a financial institution if you're a Chinese company. But they did not consider exchanges financial institutions, okay? They're not actually banks, they're not brokerages. So the Cason Group, God bless them, they wanted to really make a big investment here in Chicago. Now, they're doing some in New York, but that's because they lost the bid to buy the Chicago Stock Exchange. So it was really sad on a lot of fronts. And it was a great opportunity. It was going to be good for the city and the state. We lost jobs and revenues. We had a growth plan that we thought would really grow a new business, bringing Chinese equities to list here. And all that was gone. So that didn't curtail our operations in China. We still do some classes with Chinese, some options classes with Chinese people, and we've got a couple lines in on Chinese firms that need options technology, but it's not like what we thought it would be.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone, like 3 or 4 years ago, everyone was looking east. That's the great new frontier, the opportunity, because the numbers don't lie, and yet you're right. For a variety of impediments have come along that seem to have. We were hearing crazy things in those early days too of the government coming down and saying these derivatives are kind of crazy. Let's make the multiplier 10,000. I mean, absurd things. They wanted no one to be able to touch them. So all these types of interesting, different forces pushing and pulling. Hopefully, we'll see some more cracks in that dam opening soon, and we can get out there. 'Cause we see it here, just anecdotally. We make no effort to go after that mainland Chinese audience. We don't translate our content. They have to jump through firewalls to get it. And yet there's a substantial portion of our audience that comes to us from mainland China. We always think, if we actually put some effort into that, it might be interesting to see. So there is a demand there. There is an audience there. It doesn't need to find a way to get over the barriers, right? And then we can make it all make sense. Speaking of which, I had a chance, I ran into, I think it was a few months back, I think it might have been a stack, the former CEO of China, John, what was it? I'm blanking on his name now. But I ran into him at an event, and he kind of gave me a lengthy, off-the-record, behind-the-scenes of all that went down with that deal and how just stunningly heated and political and all the different forces that were coming to bear on him from the left and the right and all things you never would have thought would have been come to bear in it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is Chicago Stock Exchange, right? It's a small little regional Midwest stock exchange, and the notion that this little venue and the attempt to try to save this little tiny venue from going the way of the dodo became this huge, heated political hot potato. I told him at the end of that, I said, you should write a book. This is just crazy how much it happened. He said, I might take you up on that. So yeah, there's a lot of story that went on behind the scenes there. You hear it, you're like, this is...
Oh, so true. John's a great guy, and he, just based on timing, being caught in the middle of transition of two administrations, one of which had pretty much been a doormat for the Chinese, for better or for worse, the Obama administration, and then the other, the Trump administration, which made it a campaign issue where he literally held up the letter of interest from Cason Group to CHX on a stump speech back in February of 2017 or 2016. And we became political football.
The specter of China infecting our market.
Yeah.
It always struck me as funny. Here's this little regional stock exchange, does a fraction of a % of volume, that somehow that's going to be the vector through which China gets their tendrils and they control the S&P. They control everything all through Chi-X. It always struck me as hilarious.
I would not. Okay, so first of all, I would not recommend that anybody do this unless you had a lot of extra time on your hands. But because I was in the middle of it, I was forced to read all the comment letters on what we were doing on the SEC site and some editorials and some blogs written about this by so-called Chinese experts. And the machinations that they went through, that the Chinese were going to reverse engineer trading strategies. First of all, owners don't get access to any data, as if the data was going to be able to allow you to figure out how they were making money. It was just insane.
Yeah, there was a lot of power ascribed to the Chicago Stock Exchange and their ability to move entire markets. That just simply wasn't the case. It was just a small regional exchange. They were going the way of the dodo. They saw a lifeline. They wanted to take it. And it just became, you're right, once Trump ran with it on this.
Hey, ICE paid over 4 times what our bid was. I mean, they bid it up. We went along the way, part of the way, but I mean, that's ICE.
That is Sprecker's MO, overpaying for venues throughout the world, and I guess somehow finding a way to make it work on the back end. I don't know. I think the question mark's still out there, but he's definitely been on a long-term acquisition spree. He told me once, down at FIA Boca, he said people started returning his calls and taking ICE seriously when they launched that bid for the Board of Trade, right? That's when all of a sudden he said people knew who ICE was. And so I often kind of wonder with all these acquisitions, he has seen a PR value to it as well over the years. So maybe there's some of that.
Trying it with ICE back now, too.
Exactly.
They just acquired a crypto custody company that was fairly much a startup.
That's another one that's locked in the regulatory weeds. Well, we talk crypto, we talk Matrix, we talk San Juan, we talk to China. But if that's not enough, if you weren't busy enough, Tony, here I see you here. You're surrounded by cases. You were kind enough to bring us cases of delicious Kalina sparkling coconut water. What is going on how do you have time to run a beverage business with all these other things going on, Tony?
I don't sleep, Mark. Kalina is the combination of Kalila, my neighbor's daughter, young 4-year-old daughter, and Magdalena, my 17-year-old daughter's name's Kalina, means good health in a couple different languages. But Kalina is a pure-sourced coconut drink, sparkling coconut water, no concentrate, and fully organic. We're in about 10,000 stores nationwide. We private white label for Trader Joe's. As you see, the watermelon. We also do watermelon water, and some of it's flavored. It's awesome. It's medium calorie. It's not low calorie, but it's very healthy. And the reason why we got into this is that my neighbor and good friend Tarek Tahini was working with a neurosurgeon on the effects of coconut fat in terms of Alzheimer's, preventing dementia and Alzheimer's. And they were working with a powder and a pill and whatever. And then he came up with the idea of actually putting the concentrate, the coconut fat, into the water. And it has it's delicious, refreshing. It's got a cool label. My wife designed.
She designed it.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of fun, and it's sexy, and you can get it at Trader Joe's or.
So the brand is Kalina, and then at Trader Joe's it's white labeled as a different brand, or is it
Trader Joe's. It's Trader Joe's. Yeah,
sparkling. I can attest to the sparkling coconut water with blood orange. I've had that. I haven't had a chance to try the watermelon yet. That's next, listeners.
It's yummy. It's really good.
I can feel my brain already firing on more cylinders, Tony. Just from that.
It's removing the plaque.
Yes, exactly. Years of spewing hot air has riddled me with dementia, but now I feel better. So yeah, interesting. So if you wanted more things to sink your teeth into, listeners, or perhaps just drink, then there you go. I was not expecting you, Tony, to come in armed with.
You deserve it, Mark. You deserve it.
That was pretty funny. Well, Tony, I'm glad we got a chance to catch up. We'll have to do it more frequently than once every 18 months or whatever it's been here. But if you want to leave us with you already done a lot. You're already given us a lot of teases on a lot of different fronts. But if there's anything else you got in your back pocket, maybe you have, I don't know, a small aerospace startup you want to talk about. But if you anything else you want to hit on now is the time, sir. The floor is yours.
It's all about Matrix right now. So we've got a great team, and we're rolling out this QRN product by the end of the quarter, which the marketplace. I mean, we built out NXP, which is our competitor's platform. It's a pre-market matching system that allows for better pricing, such. But we're rolling out our version of a combination of that and Broker Point, which will. Our partners are Simplex Investments. They're a market maker in every single name on the board in terms of listed options. It's a good good venture together with them, and I think we provide a completely superior solution and experience for listed options traders.
Well, Tony, I'm glad we can get you back in here. Good luck on all of these different, the Matrix, the Mercury, the San Juan, the Sparkling Water, all of these different venues. I look forward to seeing how all of this plays out in the coming months.
Okay, great, Mark. Thanks.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.